Thank you, my dear friends. I cannot say my young friends because I have Mukund Chitale sitting with free. So Mukund Chitale, I cannot say he's young because he's my age. And I cannot call myself young, so I cannot call him young either. But I'm very happy that we have such a veteran like my dear friend Mukund Chitale as well as Shailesh Haribhakti will be addressing you on this very important issue in the next few minutes. So let me congratulate my friend Lalit Bajaj, my friend Murtaza, Umesh Sharma, Arpit Kabra, all of them for organizing this program. And it is organized by WRC, right? This is organized by WRC. So I am also not only a member of the institute, but I am also from WRC. So it's my duty to be part of this program and talk about it. You just mentioned, the chairman just mentioned that you're working on a very important issue as a part of your, I can call it as a part of public spirited duty to prepare a $5 trillion economy roadmap. As a commerce industry minister, I had actually clearly laid down, and in fact, if I remember, in Mumbai, I had spoken about this $5 trillion economy to our members, which was a international conference which took place in NCPA, if I can recall. One way to look at it, to be $5 trillion economy, I've done sector analysis, I've done what could be the policy initiative, everything has been done. But one important aspect of that, can we have $5 trillion economy if we don't have large corporate entities in India? United States has now companies which are more than $1 trillion market caps. The US economy is the largest economy because they have large corporate entities in technology, in retail, and other spheres. So for us to be achieving first 5 trillion, later on 10 trillion, when we double the economy, we need to have strong corporate entities in India. We cannot be large economy without large companies. There is a relationship between economic output growth and large companies. Also, large companies support significantly the growth of small and medium enterprises. Because large companies will rely upon the strength, the abilities of small and medium enterprises, which help large companies to grow even bigger. For example, because you are all from WRC, there was a time when that time the company name was Telco. Mukund will remember Telco. You, all my young friends will not remember Telco because now we call Tata Motors. But when there was a Telco and then there was a Bajaj Auto, it caused a huge exponential growth into SMEs in that area. Because there was Telco, there was small and medium enterprises. Because there was Bajaj Auto, there was a small enterprise. In fact, Bajaj Auto, when they started a plant in Vaduz, in Aurangabad, that caused a huge growth of small and medium enterprises. So we need companies, large and small both, which in turn will help economy to grow faster and bigger. That being the case, without companies, economy will not grow. Without economic growth, country will not progress. So ultimately, growth of economy and growth of country will depend to great extent on corporate entities, small and big both. If you need corporate entities, then the corporate entities growth will depend on what? We agreed that corporate entities are needed for growth. We agree that corporate entities are needed for economy as well as social growth. But what will cause the growth of corporate entities? What is that will drive the companies to grow? If you look at it, and one can study the growth of most of the well-run and long-run companies in the world, we'll find there is one thing that is common in them, and that is their strong boards. Strong not in terms of power, but in ability to think and drive the growth of those companies. They may be multinational companies, maybe be working locally or nationally, but one thing is common in those successful companies of the world is that they have very efficient and strong boards. Now the boards consist of directors, obviously, supported by full-time executives and others. But that is the place, the boardroom is a place where the board is located, is a now center for growth of countries and economies because they cause growth of the company and company in turn cause the growth of the economy. Now the question comes is, how do you make those boards more effective? Like those companies who are successful, we can learn from them as well as draw some independent lessons. One, the board is not just a physical room. You can call it dynamics of boardroom. This is today's program. The boardroom is not, you can make it very sophisticated, high-tech, state-of-art technology, all gadgets, fantastic furniture. Will that make a board a very good board? Because boardroom, the dynamic that you're discussing today is not the one. The decor, the interiors, the amount of money that is spent on boardroom renovation is not the one which will decide its effectiveness. That will be only place where people meet. But who meets there is important. And they are the board of directors, the members. So the quality of board members is going to decide the success of the boardroom. Success of boardroom is going to decide success of company, and success of company is going to decide the success of a country and economy and society. Now you can imagine the relationship between $5 trillion economy, $10 trillion economy, and the boardrooms. So the boardroom and the board members, firstly, they must be qualified. They must be people of integrity. They must be the people of vision. They must have the ability to question the papers that come before them, scrutinize them properly. Nowadays, the papers may not come because it's all online. You can look at it, but information that comes to you, you must have the ability to decipher it and take corrective action on it. One of the important lessons one can learn is that to the extent to which board can exercise control over the full-time management of the company, that will in a way work as checks and balance for sure, but more importantly can drive the growth of that organization. The full-time employees, the executives, the CEOs, the CFOs, CTOs, all of them. The problem with them is they are very competent. That's why they're running the company. But sometimes it's possible that they may lack the vision because they are so much focused on day-to-day functioning that they may lose the sight of what is happening overall. As we call it, the bird's eye view. which is necessary to understand the global trends, the national trends, how it is changing, how the environment is changing. They may not understand necessarily because they are so much focused on the day-to-day management. So one of the principal job of the board member would be to exercise control on the management, but also provide that necessary overall input to the management. And to do that, if the board member doesn't have it, how will you provide it? So you must select the members in such a way who could have that ability and who must have that capability to provide that necessary overall input of the company. Now we have seen large companies, very successful companies, excellent pedigree, excellent past record, have failed because they didn't change. They change with changing times. And some very small companies came out from nowhere and now become market leaders only because they could understand the changes very effectively. Elon Musk is an example. He now sharing the honor of being the second richest person in the world with the founder of Microsoft. When Microsoft was founded and its founder became the richest man, there are hundreds of companies waiting before him. They could not share that honor. So what happened? Microsoft became the market leader, became the founder became the richest person. Now, of course, that honor is with the founder of Amazon. That's a different matter. But he could not, the person who came from behind in no time has become the second richest man in the world. In what time? In virtually no time. What does it mean? That General Electric, which was formed maybe few 150 or more than definitely 100 years old, more than that, could not get that honor of being the most valued company in the US at a time when Microsoft, Bill Gates was forming his company. Then came from nowhere suddenly a company like Amazon, not from the forest, but from the Wall Street and became rich. And now Elon Musk has become that. That proves a point that companies who only live in the past will never succeed in future. Those who have good past and good vision of the future, they will succeed. So who will provide that vision? It's a responsibility of this board of directors. The boardroom must be the place where there is an interplay between day-to-day management and the outside board members. They together must come out with a vision for the company to succeed in future. Because no investor invests in a company because of the past. Shareholders buy stock of a company because of future. The future is decided in the boardroom. So the boardroom, the ability of these people must understand. I'm not getting into the day-to-day governance, corporate governance, compliance. All the issues are very important. And I'm sure there are laws, enough laws to make that happen. The boardroom dynamics, what is the role of independent directors, what is the role of full-time directors, what is the role of board as a whole, how they must ensure the interest of the shareholders, how much they must do with the compliance, how much they must make sure about all of the important issues. But in my opinion, the most important issue for the success of a company will come from vision and the direction. And that must come only and only at board of directors level. When now the question that will come is, how do you get that vision into the company? Obviously, it must come from somewhere. So the board members must possess that ability. The visionary leadership only takes company to a newer heights. Therefore, you must have those capable persons inducted into the board. Again, the vision must be translated into action. See, vision cannot work in isolation. Vision is not an abstract concept. Vision can be translated into action, then only it has a meaning. I may have a fantastic medicine, fantastic, can cure all illness of the world. That's the medicine I have. It's in a bottle, but I cannot administer it. What is the use of that medicine? I can claim that this medicine can cure everybody. Fantastic. But I cannot take it out of the bottle and administer on patient. What is the use of that medicine? So vision is like that medicine. Cannot be put inside the bottle. Must be administered into the organization. So another ability of the director, the board as an institution, board of directors consisting of individual directors, must be ability to inculcate that vision into the organization. Must convert that vision into corporate plans. Must have the boardroom to drawing room ability to put it into reality. From drawing room to shop floor, drawing room to marketplace, they must have that ability. So the board of directors cannot function looking at checklist. Whether there is a quarterly report on labor law compliance, whether there is a quarterly report on tax law compliance, whether the quarterly report given on ensuring that investors protection is properly taken, this is fine. These are the bare minimum things have to be done anyway. But you cannot make companies run only on compliance alone. Compliance is necessary, that is a basic requisite. But successful companies cannot just take comfort in saying, I'm a fully compliant company. You must think something beyond it. And that is where the success of the organization comes in. You mean to say that Google or now Tesla, all these companies, they must be definitely be compliant with all the security exchange compliance laws. They will be compliant with IRS, that's the Internal Revenue Service of the US. They must be doing all that. But could they have become the darling of the investor? They could have acquired market share only on that. So you must have that ability to vision and convert that vision into reality and then constantly monitor. Another thing about successful companies would be reinventing. You must be able to reinvent yourself. You cannot be staying in one corner of the world by saying, I have done enough now. So unless you want to retire and become a saint, then it's fine. You have done enough now. You can change your what your chairman is wearing the jacket and all that, Lalit, and discard it, wear orange robes and go into Himalayas. That's a different thing. But if you don't want to do that, then you must be able to reinvent all the time. Not retire, but get into new. So that is another role of a board of the director of the company. Constantly change with changing times. I can go on and on, but I know there are some very prominent friends of mine whom I can only meet nowadays virtually and not in reality. So Mukund, of course, I'm seeing after many, many years. So I don't know whether he still lives in Parle or not, but I live in Khar and he's Parle, so there's not much difference. But we don't meet each other. Shailesh, another good friend of mine, in fact, his father, Vishnu V.V. Haribhakti, was also my good friend, or he's a good friend. And Shailesh is also my friend. And now Shailesh, his kids, I don't know them that well. They're also running the practice. So all of them are my good friends, so I don't want to take more time. I would like to only request you that very happy that you keep inviting me so that I can learn something. I don't know whether institute gives me credit for speaking. Like them credit you have to give, for qualifying to be there. So I don't know you get either credit or not. But certainly, if not credit, being present here will not mark my debit. So that's a good thing. So there's a negatively good. So I'm not getting positive thing, but at least getting it. So thank you very much, Umesh Sharma ji. Thank you for taking the pain of doing that for me as well as Kavra ji. So I stop here, but I can say this is a very important program you organize in which boardrooms, how they will plays a key role. And that's why I was trying to explain on one side that role between boardrooms and growth of economy, because you mentioned, Lalit ji mentioned about 5 trillion. So I just said, again, very important issues of compliance, everything we have to do it. And Mukund is the best person. One good thing is between Mukund Chitale and Shailesh Haribhakti, if you take them out, then I think no board can be complete of any company of the world, because they represent in the top companies of the world. They are in India. They are Mukund Chitale or Shailesh Haribhakti are on the board of those companies. Therefore, they can share their best possible explanation and knowledge with all of you. So let me not stop you from listening to such good advice and good experiences. I'll stop here. Thank you very much for inviting me. We'll be in touch and we'll work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of WRP, we are extremely grateful that you accepted our invitation and you joined us today. Sir, I just request CEO Umesh Sharma for a formal vote of thanks for the session. Umesh, over to you.
Yes, after listening to Suresh Prabhu sir, we are on the path where we know that ICI supports our members